the macro here is awareness. Now, it always amazes me how blissfully unaware some people are. I see it all the time where you could be talking to someone, everything is pointing towards you trying to walk out the door, and they're still just talking to you, and you could like, how can I show any less interest in this conversation? And they are so unaware of whether I care or not, of how this conversation is going or not. That's the spectrum that you don't want to be on, where you're just blissfully unaware of what's going on. You don't have that awareness of what's going on. The hyper aware is going to know, and hey, immediately the conversation is going a little bit off, or hey, listen, I'm really aware of what we're doing in the marketplace compared to others. You have to be really thinking, okay, if I had success on this deal, okay, think about how aware you were. You were aware of how the borrower, client want to be treated. You're aware of how the agent want to be treated. You're aware of, all what they had, the documents that were correct. You had this hyper awareness. You're really aware of what was going on in the situation. You're in tune with the situation. And then think about when you had a failure, or a real estate agent all of a sudden was using you, and then they just stopped using you. You're like, I don't get it. I don't know why. I was doing everything right. Well, could it be that you just were not hyper vigilant on being aware of how those conversations were going, how you're communicating, how things, emotional states, emotional beings between both of you were you're meshing? Were you aware of that? And what you'll find is, right, is like all the way down to, man, I wasn't aware that they quit their job because I didn't ask the right questions. That's an extreme case, and hopefully that doesn't happen to you. But you have to say, okay, what's this awareness? Do I have the awareness of what's going on? Do I have the awareness of emotional states? Do I have the awareness of how this relationship's going? Do I have this awareness of how this conversation is going in the moment? And being hyper vigilant on that, we oftentimes just allow ourselves to kind of be in just a state, right? We just kind of go with the flow, keep, just things status quo, but we don't go, how aware am I with the situation? It didn't go well. Where was my intentionality and awareness of making sure I knew what was going on? Oh my gosh, like this, my teammate left. I have no idea. And then we start sometimes blaming them, like, oh, man, look at everything I did for them. Well, were you aware of what they wanted to accomplish in life and business? Were you aware of how, your actions were leading to positive or negative results in their business? Were you aware of, how they like to be treated? Were you aware of how their communication style is? Were you aware that, all these things, right? And so we can continue to go, there's awareness issues. We've all been there where, and of course relationships, you have that all the time where, the husband's over there not even aware the wife is talking to him. So there's a lack of awareness there, and definitely, but you ladies out there, make sure that the guy knows you're even talking to him in the first place, right? It's always the argument I got back. I'm like, what? I didn't even know you were talking to me. You're doing a lot of talking to the kids, and all of a sudden the voice inflection didn't change, and didn't know you're talking to me. So, but right, like we could all be more aware. We can all say, hey, how can I have more awareness of the situation, of my surroundings, of how the loans are going, how my team is flowing, all these things. So we have to make sure that our awareness is there, and really just do a self audit every time. Like when, again, this is about not just going, okay, yeah, I know, being awareness, like this situation didn't go well. Let's retrace the steps. It's kind of like you lose, people, lose stuff all the time, right? You lose your wallet and like, oh, my wallet. And then somebody's like, well, did you look here? And then somebody's like, It's always the last place you look. Well, yeah, of course. Why would you keep looking if you already found it? But we have to retrace those steps, right? We have to retrace those steps and go, okay, let's talk about that in the loan process. Where did that go off? And oftentimes we know it doesn't go off. We stop a lot of times and we don't go, okay, it went off here. When in reality, it went off the tracks a week earlier, 2 weeks earlier. The first initial pre-approval, the relationship didn't go off track with that one deal didn't go the best. It started going off track when you weren't communicating the best on another one and add it up. So we can continue to go, let's retrace these steps. What did I do? Where was I in this situation? Where did it go off, or where did I have such success? You know what? I really caught that. I caught that I was so hyper vigilant and aware of who this person was and how they want to be treated. And man, I tell you what, it was successful. So make sure that we are hyper vigilant on being aware.